Welcome everyone. My name's David Mann. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the director of music here. I have a couple special guests who are going to join us this morning for their first performance of the year. We're really excited to have our junior choir. But before they start, this is Penelope who's going to read some of their words that they're about to sing from Proud Corazon from Disney's Coco.
Proud Corazon from Disney's Coco. I heard a melody played on the strings of our souls, and a rhythm that rattled us down to the bone. Our love for each other will live on forever in every beat of my proud corazón. Ay, mi familia, oiga mi gente, catela coro. Let it be known our love for each other will live on forever in every beat of our proud corazón.
Thank you.
Over here. Am I over here or this in the spot?
If you have someone who's interested in joining us, we do meet every week at 10:30 downstairs in the chapel. You're welcome to join. Elementary ages, starting with pre-K. Thanks.
That was awesome. Good morning, all. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington. My name is Burke Kapler, and I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees. Unitarian Universalism is a faith without a creed. There is no single statement you must follow in order to be part of this community. Instead, we are open to and we draw from many religious traditions and sources of wisdom as we engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We may not reach the same answers, but we covenant to support each other and respect each other as we undertake this faith journey together. As we all search, we are guided by 7 values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. And of course, central to all of these values is the value of love. So as an aside, for the past 2 weeks, I've been visiting relatives in Louisville, Kentucky, which is how Northerners say it. And I attended services at All People's Congregation. And they've captured these 7 values with a character named Leo Jetpig. So it's Leo, love everyone, and then Jetpig, justice, equity, transformation, etc. So that's what they have done. But with all due respect to All People's Congregation, I think we should do Jig Pet, which would be like a dancing dog kind of thing. So whether you pick flying pigs or whether you pick dancing dogs, you may find that one of these values resounds with you and touches you, and what you find works for you may be different from what works for me. Regardless, we covenant to be together and to share our views and experiences and to worship what we hold most dear among ourselves. Most fundamentally, though, our congregation practices and embodies the openness of Unitarian Universalism just by being who we are. We are people of all backgrounds, all races, all genders, all sexual orientations, all disabilities and abilities, seen and unseen. At UUCA, no matter who you are, we hope you will come for community, find inspiration, and live with purpose together. So whether this is your first time here or whether this is your regular Sunday place, we're glad you're with us. It is always a busy time at UUCA, and the past weekend and the coming week are no exception. I wanted to give a quick shout out to two recent events. First of all, to Gail and Frank Brown, who led the Climate Action Team's street cleanup yesterday. And then last night was the Boo at UU auction. Super fun. Yes. Thank you. Thank you to all who planned and made that possible, and thank you to all who shopped and bid and bought for helping to maintain our community with your presence and with your support. And I just want to call out a few people who were instrumental in making last night happen. Joan Perry, Tom O'Reilly, Amy Stock, Tommy Lowe, Chris Gregory, Wendy Jessup, Cindy Hall, Gino Scarano, our auctioneer, Linda Battolini, Gay Chima, Kristen Walega, and Sarah Bates. For these people and for everybody else who helped in any way behind the scenes, in front, or just because you bid, thank you for all you have done to support our community. Yeah. And finally, speaking of scary boo items, you may have heard that on Tuesday there's, I think, an election happening. I think we're going to have one. That's Tuesday, November 5th. But here on Wednesday, November 6th, will be a post-election gathering. So however Tuesday goes for you, know that you can come here and be in community with folks here. And so now let's be in community together today. Welcome to UCI.
Burke, thank you so much for that welcome. Thank you for the music this morning. And thank you to our junior choir for sharing music with us, and Penelope for reading that for us so that we had those words ahead of time. It is good to be together. It's good to be together every Sunday, but it feels particularly so this Sunday. And Burke, I want to thank you for the shout out to our gathering on Wednesday. We don't know what we will know on Wednesday. We know we will want to be together. So I hope you'll join us at 7 to gather in the center for some music and some reading and some quiet time, and to bring, I think, something to share, to eat, so we can have fellowship together. Bring snacks, says Rev CTC. Snacks are never the wrong response, no matter what. It is good every Sunday to be together. I'm Reverend Amanda Poppy. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as senior minister here, and I'm grateful to be offering worship this morning with Rev CTC, our Minister for Social Justice and Community Development, and with David, and with Leah, and with Karen, and Cindy, our song leaders, and with Wes, and Cameron on AV, and all of the people who helped create our time together. So if you are watching online, I hope that you say hello in the chat so you know you are connected, even though you are far apart. We feel connected to you. Folks can turn and wave. And if you are here in our space together, I invite you to turn toward each other and say hello this morning, and offer a greeting that says you're glad the other person is here. Friends, I invite you to return to your seats, or if you've just made a really great new friend, you can go sit next to them if you want to. That's fine too. Shuffle around and continue those connections during fellowship time after our service. This service is one of our annual traditions at UUCA. It's one that I hold very dear, our Remembrance Sunday, when we remember those we have lost over the past year or over our lifetimes. Our Remembrance service happens each year around the time of Samhain and All Souls and All Saints Day, a time that Rev CTC preached about last Sunday when the veil is thin, a time of transition and change. And so our call to worship this morning is written with that time in mind. By our colleague Lynn Cox. They have served congregations in the DC area, around the DC area, and we offer their words this morning. Welcome, you who approach this time as a journey toward the horizon, the beginning of the next chapter, seeking all of the insights and opportunities the new day offers.
Your values with passion, who have a drive for transforming the world toward gratitude and healing, who are ignited by purpose.
Welcome, you who ride the waves of life with serenity, you who show courage in facing the depths of true emotion, you who create and change and flow with time.
Welcome, you who are here to seek the center, you who wish to be grounded in community, you who call our attention to the present moment.
Welcome all from every direction, with all of your gifts and your limits, with all that the past week and the past year have given you.
We find ourselves here on the threshold of a new day, some would say a new year, at a time when the past and the present are stirred together in the cauldron of what we shall become.
Today we remember our beloved dead. Today we give thanks to the people and the forces that helped us to reach this moment.
Today we gather with the saints and sinners and souls who have been, are being, and will be in this congregation as we open up a new pathway to the future. Each week we light a candle of compassion and send our compassion, our love, hope, and energy to those who are living with burdens, both seen and unseen: hunger, homelessness, the atrocities of war, and the unbearable losses that are associated with gun violence. This morning, we do that, but let us also remember the blessing and the burden of democracy, and hold all of those engaged in our democratic process on our hearts and send them peace and love and compassion. And now please join me as we light our chalice. Hello, chalice words. Oh, wait, they're here. Talk amongst yourselves. There we go. I'll begin and you all join me. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. And in one voice, we light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and to sing hymn number 1011 in your teal hymnal. David is going to give us a little information about how to sing it, and it came together really beautifully at 9:15, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so we're going to sing in two parts. If you're closest to me, you'll be part 1, and we'll learn that first. If you're furthest from me on this half of the sanctuary, you'll be part 2. And then after we've each done both parts 2 times, we'll try to put it all together at the same time, and you'll repeat your part over and over again. So here's part 1.
I'd like to share a sort of story with you, but I think this story is more almost a poem or a prayer. And the kinds of prayers that I like best in this congregation are the ones that are held by many different voices. So I am hoping that some of you, up to 11 of you, would be willing to help me to share this poem or prayer. I do need you to be able to read because I have it written in words on paper. And I invite folks who are small and feel good to do that to come forward and join, and folks who are tall or older to come forward and join as well. So we have enough readers for the poem, prayer, story we want to tell. Come right on over. Come on up, perfect. We can take a few more if a few more folks would like to share with us. Come on up. And I'm going to bring you up one by one. So if you all will come to the back here and stand together, and we'll go one by one. Come right on up. And we'll do which one we go first. Okay, ready? This is a story about loving someone even after you have lost them. And you might have lost them because they died, or it could be that they are very far away from you. I think that it works either way. Rev CTC, will you be ready with our bird of light when we need that bird? Thank you, and perhaps someone could help you with that when it is time. Emerson, are you ready? Okay, you're going to read this right here and start us off.
Okay. I miss you and I love you. I know I always will. And even though you aren't here now, I think of you all the time still.
Perfect.
I still have all our memories. They live right here inside of me. Sometimes they hurt my heart to hold. Sometimes they're warm. Sometimes they're cold.
Come forward. That's perfect, yeah.
Sometimes they feel so bright and huge, I smile, because they feel like you. Sometimes I try to wish you back, and then I wish it worked like that.
The truth is, I'd give anything to have you here, right next to me, to see your face or hold your hand or hear my laugh with yours again.
Sometimes the missing gets big. It seems to swallow everything. It feels like there's a hole in me. The hole is where you used to be. I still have all this love for you, but you aren't here to give it to.
Thank you.
But then I think, what if love knows exactly where it needs to go? What if it traveled fast and far to find you now, right where you are?
This is when we need our bird of light. And Emerson, I wonder if you would be able to help Rev CTC hold it for us. Maybe come right forward so we can see in the congregation how it's flying.
My love becomes a bird of light. Go now, I say, and it takes flight.
It wings across all space and time. It knows exactly who to find. How do I know it flies to you? I know because you send yours too. It travels very fast and far and comes to rest here in my heart.
And when your love comes here to me, I recognize it instantly. It fills my heart and warms it, too. It feels like I'm right next to you.
I miss you and I love you. I know I always will. I miss you and I love you. I know I always will. And even though you aren't here now, I feel you everywhere still.
And that's when I remember that as far as you might be, it's love that keeps me close to you and keeps you close to me.
Thank you so much to all of our readers, to our bird of light. Thank you for sharing with us this morning. And now as Cindy and Karen come forward, they're going to share a hymn from our hymnal, one we don't hear so much, but that reminds us of the bird of light that travels along with love.
Our first reading this morning is about a little girl named Laura who was 8 years old. It was crafted by Dennis Mason and Laura Nolan. At age 8, my granddaughter Laura was at a critical age, old enough to be curious about a lot of things, yet young enough to still profit from the experiences of adults. So it seemed the perfect time to introduce her to the world of her grandfather as a child, a rural world far away from the city life she sees daily. Our trip included a visit to the one-room schoolhouse I attended and the house in which I was born. Laura wondered aloud if it might have been a log cabin. For my own benefit, we visited a remote Missouri cemetery where family members going back to my great-great-grandfather and many of his descendants are buried. To my delight, Laura was intrigued by the concept of so much family history within the small confines of the cemetery, as well as her own ties to pioneer settlers in early 19th century Missouri. The fact that my great-grandfather bore the name Jefferson Davis Mason only added to the intrigue. As we walked around the cemetery, she raced from headstone to headstone, gathering information and carefully noting the complex relationships wrought by the early deaths and the multiple marriages of rural life more than a century ago. Laura noted with interest the several family members who had died in infancy so long ago. Children, it seems to me, cope better with death than adults do. By the time they are in elementary school, most have experienced the death of a pet, or at least understand the concept of death as it applies to insects or wildlife. Taking children to a family cemetery can bring to life, through death, a family history that is difficult to relate in abstract terms. I recommend we do that. Nearly every Sunday, I stand up here and remind you that you are a congregation that gives. You give of your time, your talent, and your treasure to help people and other organizations in our community. This month, the Share of the Plate is given to AFAC, A-F-A-C, the Arlington Food Assistance Center. AFAC is Arlington's primary food support provider to low-income individuals and families. The centers around the county, it provides food staples and protein products to those in need. UUCA volunteers help distribute food to AFAC clients bi-monthly, typically serving 100 to 200 families. They also assist with other activities, including food drives, sorting donations, and direct distribution of items to those in need. If you want more information, please reach out to Burke Kapler, our board president. This giving today is particularly important. It's very simple. People in Arlington are hungry. Will the ushers please collect our offering? Please give as generously as possible. 70% of what you give goes directly to AFAC to help support those in need. The other 30% comes back to the congregation to help us do our good works. That was beautiful. Thank you both so much. That was just gorgeous. We are a community that directly gives to help people in need. This offering and the donations you will make the rest of the month to AFAC will absolutely go directly to people who are hungry. Please join me as we bless this offering. We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. And together, let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation. Thank you all. Our second reading today on Remembrance Sunday is called They Are With Us Still. This was written by Kathleen McTeague. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice, who suffered injustice before us, they have not melted into the dust. They have not disappeared. They are still with us. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, their hearts. We take them with us, and with them, we choose the deeper path of living. They Are With Us Still, by Kathleen McTeague.
Y al corazón
Sometimes people will ask me what my favorite part is of being a minister. And there are a lot of favorite parts. I feel lucky to hold this role and especially to move through life with so many of you. But they are perhaps surprised when I say that one of my favorite parts is officiating at memorial services. I think it sounds like it would be sad or morbid even. But I find that officiating at memorial services often reminds me of how it is that I want to live, how it is that I want to be human. When I officiate, I often begin the service or have toward the beginning something that I call a framework of life. The birth dates and the death dates, the big moments in between, where the person lived and where they worked and what kind of family they created. And if that were the only story that we told in the memorial service, all of these accomplishments and moments, we might think that we were telling the story of a person with a fully successful life, a life where everything went just right. But that framework of a life is only the beginning of the stories that are told, and the real story, the real many stories, are told by those family members and friends and coworkers who are gathered, who help us to paint a fuller picture. At the memorial services that move me the most, that picture includes stories of estrangements and fights, of divorces and loss, of physical and mental health challenges, of times when life was a struggle for the person being remembered because of their own life or because of the world around them that presented a hard journey. At the memorial services that move me the most, we understand a picture not of someone who was perfect all the time or who went through life as though it were a series of wonderful things, but instead someone who was full and beautiful and irritating and had all of the challenges that being human means we face in different ways and at different times. Some years ago, I read a research study when I was a new parent of young children. I read a research study about how to build resilience in children. And it made such an impression that I have shared it over and over again in the years since and reminded myself of it. It encouraged parents to tell stories from family history, but to be sure not to tell only the stories where everything was easy or even where everything worked out in the end. It encouraged parents to tell their children stories of times when the family struggled, when they went through difficult journeys, when they had fights and they need to find a way through or a new way of being family. It said to tell the children stories of finding resilience in those moments, even when everything did not work out the way people had hoped. And that through hearing those stories, not the easy stories or the celebratory stories, but the hard ones, children would find in their own hard moments that they were not alone, that their ancestors had been through things themselves, and that sometimes they had made it to the other side with joy. As we remember those we have lost this morning, I invite us to remember the fullness of their stories, particularly at a moment when we may be holding anxiety and worry. Can we remember the stories of ancestors who have moved through those spaces themselves? Usually, when I invite you to come forward and bring a candle on Remembrance Sunday, I invite you to think of a person you have lost and to hold the value you most admire about them deeply in your heart. And you are welcome to do that still. But perhaps this time you might also hold the stories that were hard in their life. The ones they made it through, the ones they didn't quite, and how they found love and resilience and each other through it all. I invite you now to participate in this ritual of remembrance. You are welcome to go to the back of the sanctuary where lit candles, thank you to our ushers, await you to pick up a candle and come forward along either of the side aisles and forward to the table. You might simply leave your candle there, surrounded by the pictures of beloveds, or if you choose, a microphone is set at either side for you to say aloud the name of the person you are remembering today. Rev CTC and I will be there to make sure that we're speaking at different times so we can hear those names and let them fill our sanctuary. You are invited. You are welcome to remember together.
Ann M. Thompson.
My three moms.
Grandma.
Dave DeSabatino. Margot Elizabeth Bruner.
Virginia Stako.
Catherine Schlesinger.
Rose and Charles Roven.
Lowell, Esther, Eddie, my mom and dad.
John Crawford Sr.
Henry Joe.
My brother Ted Ava. Marie and Jill.
Claire Simpson.
Irene Hunter.
Jeannie Jackson.
My aunt Irene Kartsonis, a lover of art.
My biological mother who gave birth to me in the Salvation Army in Richmond.
My dad, Lou Farrand.
My mother, my father, and my sister. My dad, Brent O'Neill.
My dad, Ping Lo.
My stepfather, Roger Falls.
My grandparents, Rosa May and Bob Bell.
All the people in my life that have passed. My mother, father, sister, and many
My
more.
great aunt, Betty Bates.
Betty Bates.
This is for my father, Jasper A. Mathis, who died in Germany in 1945 when I was 2 and a half.
My mother, Charlotte Nancy Blair. Mom, Nana, we love you.
My friend
John
Dave
Lutterby.
McDyson.
My brother Doyle, who died too early from Parkinson's.
My parents, who were married on All Souls Day.
My parents, Charles and Darlene Fisk.
My mom, Stevie Banks Swain.
My grandfather, Werner Sturm.
Jonathan Kostick, my dear brother.
My parents,
My
Betty
bio
and
dad,
Walter.
My bio dad, Johnny.
My mother, Carol May Smith Herndon. My father, Charles Allen Herndon.
Rosemary Rosie Schieffer.
Rep CTC will bring forward a final candle, a candle for all the names left unspoken and held in our hearts, a candle for those lost to violence and to war, especially this year to the countless lives lost in Gaza, a candle for infant losses and pregnancy losses, often held quietly in our hearts. A candle for the loss and the love that we hold in this space. I invite you, friends, to take some breaths together. To fill your lungs with love. To fill your lungs with the names, with the stories, and with the memories. To open your heart so that it is a sanctuary for those stories, welcoming them in, holding them tight. When we are surrounded by loss and by love, by celebration and grief and death and life, it is good to sing. As we take a breath, I invite you, if you would like to rise in body or in spirit, if you would like to stay seated and to sway as we sing together, peace like a river. May we welcome in all there is.
Please join me as we extinguish our chalice. The words are in your order of service. In one voice, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light and warmth it represents. These we carry with us, bringing our sparks of love to the world.
We have gathered to remember,
to grieve and to celebrate and to love.
This sanctuary holds the stories.
Our hearts hold the stories.
Our lives hold the stories.
This community holds the stories.
Together we remember.